So would you like to pray for us today? Like me to the word of prayer?
So, yes, sure. Let's pray, everybody. Father, we thank you, Lord, for just having us all here meeting. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to discuss LaBelle's future. And a lot of the plans that have gone into our roads and our bridges here, Father. Let us, Lord, have wisdom today, discernment, and use the knowledge that FDOT has brought here, Father, so that we can come to a consensus and move towards the goal, Father, of improving our traffic, Lord, and just getting things done, Lord. Let everybody have an open mind, have an open heart, Father, and just open ears as well, Father, to listen to what the community needs, what the leaders desire for our community, Father, and just let us be able to work this out, Lord. We thank you for everything you do for our city, Lord. We ask that you bless everybody that makes the city go around, and we thank you, Father. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Madam Clerk, roll call, please. Everybody have imagination, then we're gonna say the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'm going to roll call.
Meeting of the Hendry County Board of Commissioners, LaBelle, Florida Department of Transportation, held Thursday, October 26th at 5 p.m. in the city of LaBelle City Fair. Minutes are Chairperson Emma Bird, Minutes are Chairperson Emma Bird, Vice Chair Mitchell Hill, Commissioner Emery Howard, Commissioner Brandon Glazier, Commissioner Carson Turner, County Attorney Matt Robertson, County Administrator Jennifer Davis, Deputy Clerk Sharon Thomas, in attendance in the city of LaBelle, Mayor Julie Wilkins, the attorney is not here, Commissioner Daniel Aiken, Commissioner Hugo Vargas, and that's it.
Yeah, she got, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm trying to find Commissioner Spratt.
Thank you. Welcome everyone to our joint meeting with the DOT. We appreciate everyone coming out. Just a little house cleaning. There will not be any public comment, but there is some forms in the back. So any comments that you have, that you would fill them out and put them in the back box, they may be able to get back to them with you. If you have any devices, telephones, that you put them on silent for us. At the last meeting, we had a lot of discussion, and I just kind of like it was all over the place. But today, I hope we can bring it in, stay on the subject, come to a conclusion today on whatever we want, so that we don't have to keep coming back and we can have a workshop. The longer we put it off, the harder it is, because we're always gonna agree to disagree, but today we need to come to some type of conclusion. And I hope everybody's on the same page. At this time, we're gonna open the floor to DOT. They present themselves by name, for the report before we can.
Yes, my name is Ben Clay, from the Department of Transportation.
My name is Eric Whiteheart, New York.
Jeremy Jackson, traffic police.
We're glad to have you location with us too. Also, looking forward to your presentation.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. As you all know, we're here for the joint meeting of the city, the county, and FDOT to discuss the State 29 project from Cowboy Way to Witch Road, FPID 417-878-G. So the project goal is we're here to work with you guys to listen and try to get a project that meets your needs and our needs in terms for the roadway. So just a quick agenda for what we're looking to cover here. We're going to respond to some frequently asked questions or topics that we've heard over and over again, so hopefully to clear some of that information. We'll address those in the following slides. We've also provided a fact sheet to each of you, and we've also provided that available in the back to take home. Next, we're going to address some of those items that were discussed in the last meeting held on July 11th. And then we're going to give a quick recap of the 5 alternatives we presented through each of the meetings that we've had. So first, starting with the questions. First question is, will the 29 project require removal of historical buildings? No, there's no proposed impacts to historical buildings within the city of LaBelle. Next question is, will the 29 project remove existing trees? Our intent? No, our intent is to make every effort to evaluate and save existing healthy trees. Once the project's been designed, we'll have an arborist come out and evaluate those trees and assess what the needs may be. Will the improvements create a high-speed facility on Main Street, north of State Road 80? No, the posted speed will be 25 to 30 miles per hour. We will be looking to incorporate some of the speed management strategies that we incorporate on any project that we're trying to reduce speeds or keep them relatively low. That could include reducing the lane width from 12 to 11 feet, horizontal shifts in the roadway alignment, speed feedback signs, on-street parking, obviously maintaining those trees to provide some of those restrictions or on the roadway. The crosswalks where they may be needed. And it will also be signed for no trucks on Main Street. Can a bypass route similar to Arcadia to Land Lake Class to Sebring be added? As we mentioned last time, we have committed to forming a feasibility study. We do have a program that is in fiscal year 29. But just wanted to make you aware that bypass routes do have their own challenges, especially around here. You have the environmental constraints such as the Panther dispersal zones, and any kind of protected lands in that sense. Also, the link to the bypass could pose a challenge as well. For each of those listed, so for Arcadia to Land and those, the alternate routes are less than a quarter of a mile, and an additional mile, I'm sorry. And the one that we have seen for proposed here is more than 13 miles. So obviously, vehicles will take the path of least resistance from what we have found, and so we can't guarantee that stuff like that the alternate route would be utilized. So as I said, we have committed, and we do have that program in our work program. What is the height of the proposed retaining wall south of DeSoto Avenue? It is estimated at 3 feet higher than what the existing guardrail is right now. So the final height will be determined during the final design, but that is the estimate. Will access to the riverfront, library, and city dock be eliminated? No, all those accesses will be maintained. Will the proposed improvements remove green space near the library? Green space impact will vary depending on concepts. And we'll show an overview here on the next slide of kind of looking at it from above. But there will be opportunities to compensate for any green space impacts. Will the State 29 impacts or improvements remove the Barron Library? No, the proposed bridge will be located within the existing FDOT right-of-way. Current right-of-way. So here we have kind of overlaying with one of the alternatives, around the alternative here. The red dotted line is where that current access road is. The brown or orange line that you see there is where the proposed retaining wall would be. So it would be just west of what the existing access road would be. So the green space that would be impacted would be that just adjacent to the roadway now, which includes a ditch and all that. So the more significant impact would be on the south side of the library for this one, where the road would then be connected. Here's another one of the alternatives, just to show a comparison. We're still looking at those bridges coming in just west of the existing access road, but this is the alternative for the signal at part, which just reduces those impacts out of the library. Will the Barron Park Master Plan be impacted by the projects? With the conventional signal concept, there would be no impacts. There would be no additional right-of-way need on that side of the roadway. But for the park roundabout concept would require additional coordination with that master plan. There would be opportunities to work with the community to kind of call the plan to relook at that parking and potentially add some additional parking spaces or just work some redesign. We did take a look at the master plan that we have and spend a little bit of time to give an example of what it might look like as we work together. So this is what we see for the master plan. We've tried to overlay that onto a map here, just to kind of show. And looking at it, we were kind of noticed a couple different areas where we may be able to help improve. This is based on the 9-foot-wide, 18-foot deep parking spaces and locations. The spaces marked with the X we saw would be impacting some of the existing trees. So in the interest of trying to preserve some of that, so this is just another shot of that, zoomed in a little bit. So in trying to work and show some ways that we may be able to work together to come up with something that would work, we've kind of overloaded it and shown an example here. We were able to, I believe, increase the number of spaces, but showing 30 feasible spots here. Also able to preserve, utilizing the island there in the middle of the driveway to preserve one of the existing oak trees, and then preserve the oak trees we identified that would be impacted by some of the other plants. So again, this is just an example that we could work together to once we moving forward. Sorry, I'm just going to back on this. Also, we were, kind of did the measures. We would still be able to maintain 15-foot lanes both ways through there. So traffic would still be able to get in and out.
Plus, we had a 4-foot shoulder outside that lane between the wall
And the parking you talked about, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So between the wall, we're talking about between the wall and that driveway.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful difference between the wall and the woodwork. Plenty of room. And in the top right, that's because we have doing a tree sort of, what do they say, land swap, that can be used as additional parking with the sidewalk connection. So the sidewalk, like about the park, we also have a little space. Plus, based on the master plan, it's like more.
Thank you.
Let me ask you a question. You mentioned working together. Are you looking at helping fund some of those improvements within the park?
Not necessarily help designing, just to coordinate for the design, to make sure that we can come up with something that works together. Moving on to the next question, will right-of-way impacts along Main Street, north of State Road 80, cause businesses to lose their parking? So north of Oklahoma Avenue, there's no planned parking impacts between Oklahoma and State Road 80. The impacts will vary from no impact to approximately 6 feet wide, and that'll depend on the alternative that is moved forward, and then obviously FDOT will work with the impacted businesses through the whole process. So this was just an example. You guys have seen this, just showing how we would be able to get some additional parking on Main Street.
And this would have sidewalks that would be nice, back out of
Next question, will the view under the bridge change after proposed bridges are constructed? Yes, the proposed bridges will have slightly longer spans compared to the existing bridge spans, and it will open up the view from either side of the bridge. Got a couple of examples here, obviously the rendered photos. Here's the existing view looking east from Soto Avenue. Here is what it could potentially look like looking in the direction. Moving to the other side, here's the existing view, and then here it is looking from that direction. So as you can see, it would open up a little bit of space underneath that could potentially be used for pedestrian activities, not so much vehicle use, but you had mentioned last time events and next question is, when will FDOT take over Bridge Street south of 80? So once construction is complete, we would be looking to make that transfer. Bridge Street south of 80 will become the designated truck route. We would also transfer ownership and maintenance of Main Street south of 80 to the city, and Bridge Street north of State Road 80 would remain with FDOT. And one of the main issues is the existing pavement south of Bridge Street is, one of the issues in not doing it sooner is that the pavement south of 80 is not sufficient to sustain the travel demands for the vehicular travel on that roadway. The next question is, can anything be done to improve the signals in State Road 80 and Main Street and Bridge Street? All the concepts that we've proposed will include optimizing the signal timing to help reduce those backups and improve the flow. Shifting the truck traffic onto Bridge Streets would also help improve those traffic flows, so they would not need to be making that motion from Main Street south of 80 to Bridge north of 80. How the roundabouts work, we have simulations, we can show them now, or we can just refer you, we have them posted on our project website. So I guess we'll open it up. Would you guys like to see that video here? So this is the roundabout Cowboy Way. We'll run through each of, the directions that you would be looking to travel.
Right, and this is pretty, the same video you've seen before. Roundabout does kind of function like a normal intersection where if you want to go straight, you tend to be in that right lane. Going northbound on 29 coming in town, go straight on either lane. If you want to make any left-hand turn to go up Main Street or go down Cowboy Way to the west, you the left lane. But you would have regular stay on the side. So see this pink travel path. These are your options to choose from that left lane. Right lane would be exclusively going over. So basically, you're coming to the roundabout, you're coming to a yield, just like you would be turning right on the driveway onto the street, looking for gaps. The advantage here versus the higher speed facilities is the cars are moving slower. Bigger opportunities to get.
Are there crosswalks here?
Yes. All the legs, here, the crosswalks back here. The intent is that you have a crosswalk behind and control the vehicle in front of it. And then on the two-lane approaches, it typically has kind of pedestrian control, whether it be the RFPs or another. Where it's pedestrian. That also kind of enables the crossing guards to kind of take control of it too. We'll get into the dimensions of it on some future slides, but
Would like to mention that this is with the model with the 2040 traffic.
so we are in the preliminary stage. It'll look something like this, where maybe tweaks a little bit here and there, fine tuning the design, but ultimately a little bit about the size and about the configuration. It's a 5-lane roundabout, so it's a little bigger than roundabout. We'll get to that in a bit. Where you see the yellow striping, these are basically help spirals. This funnels out people out of the roundabout on the outside lanes, which being stuck in that inside lane. So the intent is you're not changing lanes, passing people inside the roundabout. Roundabout will naturally get you into the outside lane. And so there'll be signage on each approach that'll say, which lane to be in for desired routes. What add the marking suit, help emphasize those movements.
So what are we doing, what, I know, 7-Eleven is one of them, would be, have to be moved out.
So the 7-Eleven will have to be removed this one. The rest are just gonna be corner clips with the gas station and the Dixie. When the parking, we would want to shift the entrance of the England Dixie a little bit further back, do more separation from the roundabout. And the county building will take some right away through here too. Other than that, the main business impact is.
Thank you. Questions? I myself like.
I would like to see the roundabout at the bottom of the bridge, which is proposing.
Do you have the traffic moving on that one as well?
So this roundabout, the northbound traffic would have their own lane. The self-truck not come to complete stop, other than the pedestrian crossings. Don't take the pavement, don't take wear and tear, that too, and also do the stacking. The inside lane would be how you would get to the library, the homes back here in Bridge Street, and also Soto Avenue, back to Park. This video is a little outdated. We did add the right turn ability here. So that's what's missing in the video, but that right turn is going to be a one-way in to access the park. They will not be able to get back out to the roundabout.
It looks like it encroaches way into the park.
So this is the same shape and footprint that been showed with the parking master plan. So it does work with that. There is the advantage of the retaining walls, where now you have the slopes, grounds, this ditch, really can't be used for anything. Retaining wall opens up more flat space for parking. Right here, and actually will allow parking on both sides of the parking lot. The current master plan only has parking on the east side. Get additional parking with this.
Madam Chair, could you go back, Mr. Spratt come in after we looked at the pictures originally, could you let her see those, please?
Sure.
They had a couple to show that, so that you get a chance to look at it.
I'm sorry, I'm like.
That's okay.
Are we good to switch off the video and go back to the slide?
If we could, yeah, you just show her those two, the east and west now.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Commissioner Parker.
Afterwards, I want to come back to this.
Okay, we'll hold that.
Actually, you could show the alignments as well. You didn't see that portion. Please share that. Anybody have a maze?
We'll go ahead and show this. So this is, we were addressing frequently asked questions. So this, the question, here's other questions. Will only improve green space, or will it remove the barren library? So this is just showing where the red dotted line is the existing access road that is east of the library. The orange line is where the proposed wall would be, so it would be just on the west side of the current access road coming in. This is the roundabout alternative. Here it is with the signal alternative at Park Avenue. Would still be coming in just west of the access road there. with reduced impacts south of the library. Here was a master plan that we've seen, so we did overlay that with on a map here. Here's a zoomed in version showing that master plan, and here it was with the roundabout and ways that we could work with the plan to try to get something that would accommodate here. What we've shown here would be 15-foot travel lane with a 4-foot shoulder on the east side of the retaining wall there. Would allow to preserve some of the trees and some additional parking.
Did the amphitheater move on that one?
Or based on the master plan, the plans to move the existing pavilion or rebuild it on the annex property on the other side. We're gonna show. It frees up that spot, and they were gonna relocate the amphitheater, middle, and then it appears by the master plan, they want to leave that area open for elevation. Still have that and be able to go to a by traffic south of the existing.
Ramon went out to go get his laser pen, and I hate to not be able to use it. Here he comes now. I went out there with Wayne Gaither, and he took some stakes and hammer and measuring tape, and we kind of measured things out and moved pretty close on where we thought the bridge was going to come down. And myself, I think I like the roundabout option. Just because I think it's going to move traffic better than having a stoplight. You know, if we have a stoplight, I think we're going to cause more backups. But if we be in a truck route, we're going to have longer vehicles that are stopping, maybe more often. But I do feel like when we lose that parking space, it's gone. You know, that Barron Park for me is one of those places that I would like to keep as much of it as possible. And so on the other side of the bridge, we have a lot of unused space. We have a lot of green space that when you show the other pictures and you're moving it, the library is you know, it's LaBelle as well. But it's a lot lower traffic, maybe not less use, but lower traffic area. Barron Park, we're going to get bigger events there, more people. So by losing that space, it's really going to affect that side more. So what I was talking with Wayne about is how much could we shift that roundabout over on the other side where that space doesn't get used as much. We've tried to utilize that space. We have that road that doesn't really get used. I mean, the driveway that goes in and out of the library to that side, there's going to be extra open space over there that we can do something with it. Maybe have parking over there if we wanted to. But I believe that myself personally, I see more value in saving as much as Barron Park.
Some of the constraints that we're dealing with here are we can't really shift the roundabout further north. Obviously due because of the slope that you're going to coming into it. We try to shift it west. Here we then start getting impacted in some of the buildings.
The top left corner, that's the roundabout. That's not as far as we can be.
Can you show the other picture again? Because that one,
How many parking spots are we losing?
So the master plan, based on what we were counting with 9-foot spaces, the red X's that Ben was pointing out, there's 3, so I think they had 30 in the master plan, but they appear to be like 7 feet wide, which is more or less compact parking.
We're only losing 3 spaces.
Well, so this is the existing master plan, it just laid it on top of today's situation.
Yeah, so this is what we kind of overlaid, taking that master plan. The X's that we're showing are where existing trees would be. So those parking spaces would impact existing trees that we were trying to show that we could preserve with this one.
Right. But we wouldn't have had as many parking spaces as what's shown in that master plan because it appears to be on top of existing oak trees.
And then the spacing of those, the spacing of those parking spaces did not appear to be wide enough to achieve that 30.
Right.
Let's see, I think what he was saying is because you're moving those east, you're impacting the capacity of the.
Understood, yes.
So, yeah, no, I understood, I just wanted to clarify, was that was what he was saying?
So-
Okay.
So there,
Yes, so
I see a lot of green space on the, from.
correct. If you see the building though, on the corner there. If we were to shift the roundabout further to the west, that roadway, based on the geometry that we would have to have for the roundabout, the roadway would then start impacting that building. If we were to shift the center of the roundabout further to the west, we would then start impacting the building.
Part of it, too. The approach to southbound way coming up, it's gonna be basically sidewalk will be up against one of the options. Pushing further, impact the building or
That being said, I think this, I like it better, but that is gonna affect too much of Barron Park. Barron Park for me, myself, is one of those places that I like to preserve. Because, once we lose that park space, we don't get back, right? Because I see the parking pushed into under the trees, and it's just crowding everything. We're already crowded as it is for these bigger events, and it's just, we're gonna lose a lot. So, if that cannot be shifted over to the west, then I like the other one better because it affects less than Barron Park. But how does that compare as far as moving traffic up to 2040 with the roundabout?
So we have a couple different of the roundabout options that we presented. This one has the free flow lane on the outside. We did have an option that did not have that extra lane, so that would reduce some of the space. And there's also opportunity to go back.
And for clarity, I mentioned the master plan. So the master plan for the audience is for the LaBelle Downtown Revitalization Group, which as it pertains to Barron Park, and not an FDOT master plan.
Correct.
Because I think some people in the audience.
Thank you, yes.
Yeah, they've worked really hard at having options to be able to make Barron Park a more usable space and just make it nicer overall. And this is going to affect it quite a bit.
right. So this layout here is 30 spots, basically, so more than what we were seeing with the Barron Park after layout top existing. So if you got rid of that parking on the south side, you still have about the same footprint now that's layout providing all the north end park.
But you're pushing the parking east towards the green space of the park, right? That's what Hugo said.
Correct. What Wade just said is if you were to eliminate the parking that we're showing there east of where the roundabout falls out, and were to just go with the parking that is on north, you would achieve the same number of spots that we believe that the master plan was showing to achieve. So this year, we're showing additional parking to what the master plan is showing. So if you were to eliminate the additional parking there, that's starting to push into the park and just go with the other parking, you're more or less on top of it.
But you're still encroaching on the park.
Yeah.
Line.
That's yes.
Bottom line.
So comparing the red light on the signal option, I mean, it looks, if we can go to that side, it looks like it doesn't affect the park nearly as much.
Correct.
It stays fairly close to what we have now, and it looks like our master concept plan for the park, we get to keep our green space and stay pretty close to where we're at on that.
But remember that you're gonna slow your traffic down with.
Well, that's
But we're gonna have to give up something to get something.
That's the question is how does this move traffic in comparison to the roundabout as far as length of, as far as the next 20 years or whatever?
The roundabout will work better because it's a free flowing northbound. Signal still work at 2040. The roundabout might more time, but it both works. Yeah, they both are viable. Like Ben said, the ones that weren't viable, we showed you, but then told you went roundabouts would work.
This is,
Go ahead.
myself personally, and this is the last I'll say on this actual part of it, is I don't like the encroachment on the park. For me, Barron Park is one of those encroachment places. I think Hendry County Courthouse and Barron Park, I wouldn't want to take any of those two places. For me, that's the belt. So those are like places that we take pride in, right? So for me, I like this better, knowing that we can move it easily because here, the library is affected less. We still keep the two buildings on the south end, and we lose less this way.
So it's
It's a give and take, it's a trade-off, and I
I think
think,
less disruptive, but it doesn't.
it may not flow better, but I think we lose less. That makes me sway towards this rather than the roundabout.
And also, get a part of it too, roundabout built in traffic calming.
We will make sure we're on the same, our mindset is going the same. Do everyone feel the same way that you feel about our cars?
I don't wanna lose any of the park, number one, but I have a question. How are you gonna keep, car traffic off of Main Street? Because any one of these is going to encourage traffic on Main Street. We gave up Main Street, we didn't want traffic on Main Street. So how are we gonna keep?
We did, based on the feedback that we got at the last meeting, we did run through what was asked, later on in the presentation. We'll look at eliminating.
You're gonna answer that question later?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Can you go back to the one with the, park showing on with the roundabout real quick? Okay, just out of curiosity, the red box that's, marked there is existing pavilion.
Correct.
So that's where it's existing now.
Correct.
So if you did not touch the south side of that, on the east side of that, you leave that parking out, we can get by without the parking. You're not really encroaching on the park as much. And then, actually on the northwest corner, we're actually gaining green space as far as parking as well. So it's kind of give and take there, where we're kind of losing a little bit, very little bit to the south, but we're gaining at the north end. So, my question there, Mr. Vargas, was I like the idea as well, the flow traffic. So if we cannot touch that parking there, leave that green space going straight as it is now, is that something that you would entertain?
I'm sorry, was that?
On the south side, you say we knock off those parking spaces, we still have those roads that are coming in there, so really all we're taking off is the parking, because those two routes are still gonna be going through. And the added space that we're getting on the north end is getting taken up with cars, and so we're still losing.
The south side is existing now, and the road's existing there as well. All you're doing there is you're taking the parking spots out. Where that goes past, if you look at the corner of the pavilion, parking is actually, that road runs right to the bottom of that pavilion now. The southbound lane does. So you're not losing anything, you're actually keeping the same green space you have, we're just eliminating parking spots there. But the green space is there, you see the existing pavilion, the red line. So all you have parking there now, but if you delete that parking, you have green space where you have parking now.
Do you have that pointer?
I had some like that.
So one thing I'll say, we can, this is.
Okay, I don't have Vanna White's finger in that, but here we go. All right,
That's existing
This is-
pavilion, and
this
you
is-
keep that green space.
but if we just eliminate parking according to the plan right here, we still are eliminating all of that green space, I believe, is Commissioner Spratt and Vargas's perspective. So, can we reduce this to smaller lanes and keep it at this level? And then we're not impacting work.
Well, that's exactly what I was just mentioning.
So,
Well, that's
yes,
what you were saying.
what we're showing here would be the worst case for White. So this is with a 10-foot sidewalk with the roundabout, obviously with the extra lane. We can go back and take a look to try to, skinny up the sidewalk a little bit. We can get some additional, maybe work to find some additional parking off-site on street parking, DeSoto and Park Avenue. So there's options that we could go back and take a look at internally, if that's the ultimate goal here. What we're just trying to show is this would be a worst case scenario and opportunities that we would be able to work with the group to develop a master plan and try to help develop that park, and meet a vision.
Mr. Vargas, I wanted to ask you, how critical is having those additional parking spots that we don't have now as for most events? Because I'm thinking, are we looking at attendees versus folks that work the events? Because typically attendees probably don't park there for walk having.
Well, one of the things that our local downtown board is doing is they're looking to enhance foot traffic, foot traffic and also vehicles, like more traffic into Barron Park as a whole. And they're maybe looking to make it nicer, maybe add a restaurant in the future. That's why we have the food trucks going in there to get more people coming into the park. And, so, it's critical at some, at some point, because if you start making it beautifying it and changing it up, if we start having an amphitheater, we start having entertainment, entertainment there at the park, and we will need some more parking spaces. We don't have a lot of parking area near it.
Right.
So myself personally, I just think we're squeezing an already tight space, and we're doing it, what I would call, it may not look like it, but, but that's our crown jewel.
Right, and I agree with you, but with the, parking spots that you're picking up on the, northwest end of it, does that kind of balance it out where you may not need that?
When the land is gone, it's gone.
They can
You don't get it back.
No, I understand that.
I thought we were saying leave that down there in the green spaces right now.
Right, but we're not talking about taking it away, we're talking about leaving it.
Do you really need a 10-foot
If
sidewalk?
they come that far into the
Again,
park.
this is the worst case scenario. We can narrow it down to what's going across the bridge. We have a 6-foot sidewalk, 6-foot sidewalk going across the bridge. We could narrow that and gain an additional 4 feet.
And narrow your lanes down from 15 to 11. So you're getting 4 more feet. We just really, again, and if we're attendees and everyone that works in every event, everyone parks at the library now. What we're worried about is green space, and this is the overlay that the LDRC has created that's inside of this. So, again, if we shorten the sidewalk down, you say you can go down 4 or 5 feet. We take away the 4 or 5 feet over here, we're gaining the green space back to 4 feet. And we're still having the traffic flow that we need. That'd be great to say we're going to change anything, but if you don't do anything, we don't fix anything. And in 2040, when we're not here, our kids are going to be hated, so we just do something in 2023.
And I do say that, like I said earlier, you're not, in order to get something, you gotta give us something. You're not giving up a lot. They didn't come in and take all the money, you took a small piece of it. And I understand once it's gone, you can't get it back. I get that. But in order if you're gonna look at for the future, you're gonna have to make that change.
Well, we're looking at a few options here, and like you said, it's give and take on both sides. Give and take. If we pick this, we're giving up a lot. I believe we're giving up more on this side than we are if we're not affecting Barron Park. So, on top of that, we gotta connect what's going on Bridge Street, because if we're flowing faster through here because of that route, we're also got more speed down Bridge Street, right? And if we're trying to slow down the traffic, also so that we don't have craziness going down on Bridge Street, we can actually market it and use it.
It's gonna slow because it's gonna slow traffic in the roundabout.
The roundabout would slow.
It's gonna slow it up because you're slowing down traffic in the roundabout.
More than a signal.
Commissioner Bird, you're through downtown when you get to the bridge. So if you sped all the way through town, you don't slow down till you get to the roundabout, which is at the bridge. So I'm not sure it's gonna work the way we think it's gonna work.
Well, if I was,
I'm not opposed to change. I wanna make that clear. But I want it to be a good change. I don't want it just to be change for change.
question back to FDOT, correct me if I'm wrong, but from Highway 80, north towards the bridge, there's traffic mitigation, I don't know, structure, the right way to say it, but.
Yes, there would be strategy. So narrowing the existing roadway from 12-foot to 11-foot lanes with slow traffic down, adding in the medians, the islands into the middle, which again, we'll touch on later, with slow traffic down. So yes, there would be some strategies implemented to slow traffic down through the roadway.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So, what about the circumference of the roundabout? Could you tighten that up? I don't know what your minimum or maximum is, what that does to the flow of traffic, but if you tighten that up and you shorten the width of the sidewalk from 10 to 4, then you can push that curved sidewalk west, and then it gains that green space that you're looking for.
So at this time, I just emphasize, we're in concept phase. We have not gone through, we can't go down and design into the design details of this. What we're showing would be what we would consider a worst case scenario. So the roundabout is designed close to what we believe it would be. The sidewalk is 10 foot wide. So there may be opportunities as we get further into design to try to narrow that up and provide. If the important part is keeping that amount to a minimum, obviously we could work to try to find ways to do that. But also just pointing out that by doing this, you're gaining a little bit of space. You gain a little bit of space on that west end as well by going with the wall. Now you have the slope up to the bridge. So with the wall, you will be able to flatten some of that out, and that's where we're showing parking. You gain a little bit of green space on that side as well. So, and this is just an example. Obviously, we're not saying that this is what happens in the finished design. Just an example of what we could work together to come up with something that may work to meet the needs of the community and the roadway.
I intentionally went on the one that on 46. I intentionally did the roundabout there as the traffic's coming off the highway there, and it do work. It do slow it down, so it gives you that break if the road got narrow. I went that way just to see how the roundabout works, and it do work, But I know they're concerned about the greenery. But if they tighten up the sidewalk, that's gonna be a problem, whether they understand or not. If you're gonna have an impact that you think you're gonna have and take away from the sidewalk, that's gonna be a problem. If you take away one or two parking spots, that's gonna be a problem. So we're gonna have to come to some type of conclusion that, that something's gonna have to give, because either way it goes, we're gonna lose something. We lose part of the sidewalk, we're gonna lose the traffic for the flow for people that's walking. It's congested, like you said it is. When there's something going on there, the sidewalk needs to stay there. So, some of the greenery is what it looks like it needs to be, and I know that's not what you all want, but that looks like you can have to stay with the greenery.
Madam,
Can you bring it?
sorry. I've been respectfully quiet, so. To that point, is that if we have events in the park, there's no one going on the bridge in general, over the bridge. They are walking across Bridge Street to their library or that area. So, but could we, in order to get through and get to the presentation, go ahead and say, if we chose the roundabout, that we would work on narrowing it and preserving as much of the park as possible, and then move forward from there?
I like that.
I'd also like to interject, have you considered some of these traffic calming, tried any scenarios on the signal concept, but actually have you tried not having a signal there and doing traffic calming for the traffic flow? Like does there have to be a signal there in the signal concept, which is kind of crazy. Can you do traffic calming or anything, stripping the lanes?
Well, we don't have a signal now, so.
The main thing with the signal is it gives you the ability to go north on Bridge Street. That's on high speed traffic coverage. So you can get the bridge before you get to the car. So signal would be the control mechanism to allow you to turn left, down.
When we talk about giving up something, that's something that I would be willing to give up, just because we get so much more. If we didn't have that signal there, I mean, we're not losing the space on the west side of it. We're keeping more and more green space, more buildings, more potential parking, and we're keeping all this space on our apartments. We are keeping the sun down.
And the west side of the bridge too.
What happens when the bridge goes up?
What happens?
Nothing?
What happens when the bridge goes up today?
Traffic backs up, goes side of the bridge.
It would not.
It won't do that?
If the bridge is up, it would not.
I was gonna say, it's gonna back up. If the battery's dead, Julie.
Oh, okay.
Is there timing improvement with the new bridge versus the old bridge as far as when it gets down, the time span from
We
being operational?
we don't control that. That would need to be reached out with
Army Corps?
Coast Guard, sorry. That would be a request from the county and the city could get that change.
No, it's not my job, let's move ahead and come back with that. So again, I think we're all saying the same thing in a different way, we want to try to make it work. If we go ahead and move on with reservations, you're good.
We'll go back to where we were.
Those are the pictures I actually wanted to see, which is blue eye. Different from this yesterday.
This is existing looking east from DeSoto at the bridge. This is the rendering. This is existing looking west. This is the proposed.
Thank you, sir.
So some people requested. Now we're going to move on to addressing some of the concerns and conversations from the last meeting. One of the concerns was the ability for traffic to go side by side through the roundabout at Cowboy Way, specifically the buses. We've got it shown here. We do have a video if you prefer to see the video, but for our analysis, the two vehicles would be able to make it through the roundabout at the same time, driving side by side with space in between. Is there interest to see the video?
Yes.
White gauge will be your largest truck. You can have a highway system, the yellow gauge will be a 40-foot bus. In this video simulation, the truck is staying off that dark brown apron. They have the ability to go on that as well. So there's space made, there's coverage room there too. But it's size right now that they both. The direction.
That really was a concern I had at the beginning, we have a lot of truck and bus traffic, so thank you for that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
How do you use my compass a little bit?
yeah. It's something we normally would nail down design, final design, but it's hard to do that.
Do y'all have any statistics on school buses having accidents on roundabouts by chance?
You're asking if we had
Any statistical information showing how I mean, you can automate anything to make it look great, but my question is, does the FDOT have any statistics showing how school buses do perform on roundabouts accident-wise? Probably not.
That's right.
we don't have any significant evidence one way that there's any major negative associated with driving the bus going through the roundabout. We do have two buses as well. It was just less intrusive than the truck and the bus traffic side by side.
Again, these are all slow traffic, slow speed. So because it's a slower speed, you have more time to react.
Are you classifying slow as 35 miles an hour or 45? 20, okay.
And often the bigger vehicle is probably less time.
Show the overlay of the 82 roundabout with the roundabout.
Yeah, it's coming up there.
Okay, so this was again just showing what was there. So getting into the size comparison, it was a lot of discussion there. Size comparison for the Chicago Way roundabout and the State Road 82 roundabout. The Cowboy Way roundabout has an in-stride diameter of 260 feet, which we had mentioned before, lane width of 16 feet. The 82 roundabout has an in-stride diameter of 196 feet with those same 16-foot lanes. So in-stride diameter, here's what we're talking about is the travel lanes and the middle circle within the roundabout. So there's the 260 with 16-foot lanes. Here's the State Road 82 roundabout, 185 feet in one direction and 196 in the other. And again, encompassing the middle circle there and the travel lanes. So here we have Cowboy Way, and if we overlay the two roundabouts together, you can see that the State Road 82 roundabout, including the travel lanes, is complete within the inside, in the middle of the Cowboy, what we're proposing is the Cowboy Way roundabout. So it's significantly larger, let's see, a 5-leg roundabout, so there's increased size there. But we wholeheartedly believe that it is large enough to accommodate the large traffic.
I'm gonna say I witnessed the 82 and 29, so I was definitely hardcore against roundabouts. This one, I've actually went down just to witness the traffic early in the morning and see all the traffic that takes place there. And it works. So I really appreciate the time you took to do both of these. Thank you. I didn't know you were going to show this, but I think Jennifer was kind of positive was the negative. Thank you.
So just kind of to further elaborate on that, there was discussion about the capacity metrics within the Cowboy Way roundabout. We did go through and analyze the level of service within the roundabout, showing it here that the overall level of service is a C, and kind of broken out with each of the legs, south leg, level C, east leg, level C, northeast, northwest, and west leg, all coming into level B. Operation there.
For those of us who don't speak traffic, is 80 level C?
Sorry?
I'm trying to compare. Is State Road 80, is that a level?
Breakdown with the level of service. It's tied into the volume and each of the legs.
I get that, I just don't know.
So a level 30C is around 35 seconds delay per vehicle.
You're asking about how 80?
Oh.
I'm trying to get a comparison for those of us who aren't into this.
A is the best, and then we can see the F is unacceptable. So what you're saying is, it would operate as an acceptable level of service.
Yes, ma'am, that's still not speaking my language, and I imagine some of our residents as well. So is State Road 8, State Road 29, is that a level C, is that a level B, or if there are your levels for those streets?
For today's traffic,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know the number for the existing level of service.
Madam Chairman, can I put, may I put engineer Shane Parker on?
Understand? Yes, ma'am, I do. I would say level service C, okay, State Road or level service C and A, the traffic's probably not on the level service C.
Okay.
When you get higher, you go like you get to a level service E, it'd be like, E&F would be like you're waiting all day long for traffic. You can't get out, C, you're still moving. That's what I would say.
So 5 o'clock in LaBelle is, it's fast, right?
If you're on Cowboy Way, yes.
Okay, all right.
Base is just the flow of the traffic, that's all I'm saying. The flow of the
Got it,
traffic.
thank you. It's scary for him to speak my language, so.
Okay, so moving to the next point, there was a request to keep the two-way left turn lanes on Bridge Street and Main Street, so we did agree to providing those. So we'll show, here is the existing typical section, 6-foot sidewalk, the 12-foot travel lanes, including that two-way left turn lane. And that was the point of discussion. So what we're showing here is maintaining that, going still reducing the lane width to 11 foot, putting 6 of sidewalk and 12 foot on the other side, but then throwing in the traffic calming landscape islands intermittently where they would not affect any access points. So that is just to break up that continuous two-way left turn lane. So, moving on to Bridge Street here, again showing the 12-foot travel lanes with the continuous two-way left turn lane down the middle. And here just doing the same thing, reducing the lane width, keeping that middle lane, going with the sidewalks, and then going, utilizing those traffic calming islands in the middle. Again, where they would not impact any access, the access points. Here's Bridge Street north of State Route 80, with the existing digital section, 12-foot lanes, 5-foot sidewalks on each side. And here it is, again, showing 6-foot sidewalks on each side, 11-foot lanes, keeping that two-way left turn lane, and then islands in the middle. Break that up. Yeah, those will be placed. Yes.
We saw, I saw on the news yesterday, crosswalks where the lights were overhead rather than in the middle, and they were easier to see and probably a lot safer for any pedestrians trying to cross. Is that not an option for here?
I'd just also like to point out those are the little white lights that really aren't noticeable to most humans driving. I came from Fort Myers today, approaching the River Hall, and there was a big yellow light that said, hey, there's an intersection approaching. And it's a big yellow light. You can't miss it. Some little white lights, even though all this other striping, everything's there, it's just, maybe eventually we'll learn it, but those white lights really do not.
It is an option, yes, but that would be ironed out and designed.
I just want to make that clear. Yeah. I don't approve of those little white lights. Yeah, I work well.
Those are all the features we'll be looking at in final design.
Yes.
We're just not there yet. We're showing the concept, but obviously.
I understand. It just caught my attention.
Details will be worked out, but thank you, yes.
Sure.
Point, there was requests for signal option as, we did lengthy discussion on the signal option being the preferred concept at State Route 80, and then requesting a fourth signal added at Hall Street. We did develop concepts for that, which we'll show here in a moment. And also, there was also a request for mast arms, just wanted to bring that back up, that is an option, but the difference would require local funding agreements for the city to cover the difference.
Okay, that was a big ticket. Yes to that. Could you explain that in a little more detail?
So there was a request we could utilize the mast arms instead of the
Got
string.
that.
Since this location is not on the coast, our standard would be the string poles. And if there was any upgrades to go to the mast arm versus string poles, that the difference in the cost would need to be covered by the local. And that would be through a local fund agreement down here.
Do you have some numbers to?
Yeah, an estimate.
Not at this point.
Okay.
So here was the concept, just adding the signal there at Hall Street. Just highlighting one of the advantages here, just it provides a U-turn ability to access the businesses on the east-bound. We'll run through more stuff on there.
I'm sorry, yes, hold you up for a second. Question on the red lights. We have a couple lights in town that we ran into an issue with, northbound Bridge Street. Only 2 pictures, there's not a third picture with a flashing yellow, arrow, so we had an accident. We've had like 4 accidents there, and keep saying, and you'll hear about this, we'll be emailing tomorrow about it. It's northbound Bridge Street. There's only 2 pictures there. There's not a picture there for turning. Southbound Main Street is the same thing. It just has 2 pictures. There's not a 4-position light that has a flashing arrow in it. I know that we're supposed to all know better than to go into oncoming traffic, but obviously 4 folks did not. And what they're saying now is there was no sign there that said I couldn't turn. I had a solid green light that said I could turn. So you'll be hearing about that soon. But the question is on that, all of our other signals have that option that has the flashing yellow, the green arrow, red arrow, or flashing yellow arrow. And the only reason I'm asking that question is, again, we've had 4 accidents in that one intersection, and I got beat up on it today, so that was a quick question.
So
It's just a matter of adding one more fixture really is all I need.
yes, by going with this option, there would be protected left turns, so there would be upgrades.
That's all I'm asking, thank you.
The next request was to remove the southbound right turn lane on Main Street to avoid right-of-way impacts. We can remove the turn lane, but would still require a small strip on that side. So kind of just showing that, removing the dedicated right turn lane on Main Street.
As we get further into design, we have to resurvey this area anyway once it's developed. That was based on conditions that were there. Single permanent plans, what's going in there, whether they're removed their sidewalk, their property. Once we get further into design, we can reanalyze that and may still have to write their rent out in 50 years.
And just one of the potential, again, once we get into design, we analyze that, but one of the potential of just removing that lane would just create additional backup by removing the lane.
So can we, from the last meeting that we had, with trucks coming north on Main Street and taking a left right there on 80, realizing I have to get on the bridge and I got to take a left, that ties up that turning lane. Is there something that can be done on the Cowboy Way roundabout, say, I'm saying this is the truck lane?
Yeah, so that would be the intent, is to sign Bridge Street as a truck lane, all trucks are then just stay in that right lane north of.
We signed south of Cowboy Way, north of the bridge.
So are you saying those trucks on State Road 80?
Those trucks on Main Street, but it's signed same truck route to Bridge Street.
The Bridge Street would be the truck route, so trucks would then be signed to stay on Bridge Street. South of Cowboy Way, there would be signs north of Park, or the bridge really, to stay in the correct lane, the appropriate lane, stay on Bridge Street.
So ultimately, we're still gonna have an issue on the in front of the courthouse with that turning lane, with that left from truck traffic, from 80.
Trucks on 80, correct.
There's nothing that we end up found to solve that.
The BOCC concept eliminated that left turn lane, so there would not be traffic stacking, as much traffic stacking there to make that left turn.
That long turning lane.
We'll show you if it doesn't work.
I like those guys that want to move the red lights. Remember, we had the conversation, it would work, but put the red lights in the center to make a lot of sense to be flowing traffic into a red light. But flowing into a roundabout out of the red light makes all the sense in the world.
We'll cover a few of the other stuff that was discussed. So another request was that the concept for the new signal on Hall Street and closing off Main Street, so this is part of what you had requested, mentioned in the last meeting, was closing off, extending the median, extending that turn lane across here. Just want to point out that this does not come back as a viable option. By closing off Main Street, not utilizing it, does not achieve the capacity that we need to achieve on Bridge Street. So just going to preference any of the options that closed off utilization of Main Street north of 80 did not come back as viable options in meeting the traffic demand needs.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, excuse the interruption, but by closing it off, are you saying to DOT use, or are you talking local use? Because the whole premise was that y'all weren't going to include Main Street, that it was going to be Bridge Street only.
That's what was discussed at the last meeting, was to no longer utilize Main Street as and they essentially utilizing Main Street in the calculations for the traffic and putting all traffic onto Bridge Street. And that did not achieve the needs, did not meet the criteria.
Okay, so in my discussion, just personal discussion with y'all, it's been, you know, and we discussed it in our first or second joint meeting, I don't remember where we're at on the joint meetings, but to make Bridge Street 29 and Main Street is not included at all. So I'm not sure what you're trying to tell us here.
Yeah, so, let's go back, so the traffic numbers, they include local traffic and State Road 29.
Okay,
So by not utilizing Main Street for State Road 29 traffic, it's essentially shoving all local traffic, State Road 29 traffic all onto Bridge Street, and that's causing it to fail.
Okay.
This was my idea that I had solved the left turn on Bridge.
No, I like the idea, but I wasn't thinking about local traffic.
So just kind of gives an indication as to what we're talking about when it comes to failing. So with this concept, the backup showing still a level service B, 965 foot backup to South Washington Avenue, and then a 907 foot backup to Broward. That's the traditional signal. But we're going with this concept, you're going to a level service F, and the backups go well north of Park Avenue and then well south of Cowboy Way. So your backups would extend well beyond those intersections by utilizing this and closing off the street.
Thank you for clarifying.
So request for additional parking between on Main Street between 80 and Oklahoma Avenue. So this was not feasible, and this was not feasible because we need those lanes. So by adding parking, we're essentially taking one of the additional turn lane over.
Right, the only, most of these use a left turn lane as well. So, three lanes and parking, taking right away.
So the on-street parking would not be able to extend down that far. We would still be showing this north.
So the sidewalk connectivity is the on-street parking that would be north of Oklahoma. But you won't really have it right there, because we buy the parking lot of.
Next request is to evaluate utilizing the existing right-of-way currently, Dollar General parking lot. This was not a viable concept, which is approximately 2 degree. Next request was to evaluate placing a roundabout at the intersection of State Road 80 and Bridge Street instead of Main Street. We did evaluate the concept. Traffic backups are expected to be longer than the conventional signal or the original bow tie, but they are within the acceptable level of service. So here's what that concept would look like, moving that roundabout to Bridge Street and still having the roundabout hall. You would still have the one signal there at Main.
You have the traffic flowing.
We do not have a video.
This roundabout is substantially smaller than what we have on Cowboy Way with big trucks, and I wonder how that goes.
Yeah, this is a 196. It'll be the same as the 82 one. So the apron is a little bit bigger than the one on Cowboy Way. So like the use of that apron. Very shallow, short, curve. Or the whole tip load pretty fast. It's designed for trucks.
Again, the concept here, the idea was to move that interior red light out as well. Right now, you're still feeding a stoplight to the roundabout.
Yeah, so
Connecting feeding two roundabouts with two stoplights.
Right, so if you remove that on a main, right?
You move that red light on Main to Hall Street, and move that roundabout on Hall Street to Main Street.
Those two roundabouts would be too close to function. We did analyze that. We did look at that, and putting a roundabout at both Main Street and Bridge Street, but it did not operate correctly.
Yeah, that was the first one we looked at, but it is something that would, it would make sense there, yeah. But the traffic backs up.
That's why you need to do, brother. You have to ask the question.
Madam Chair, one question, the land acquisition for the Bridge Street roundabout would take the building on the northwest corner, correct? On the northwest corner, currently, insurance office.
That would stay with the existing right away.
There would be impacts on the northeast corner and then a little bit on the southwest.
The red is a proposed right of way. Everything you show in blue is existing, so red is what we take.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I think that aerial is a little,
Maybe should. There are no buildings impacted.
How would that work with just the Bridge Street roundabout and not the other one?
Just a roundabout.
Yeah, the one over here on, is that Hall Street, on Hall Street, with that one?
Yeah, what you're saying, the red line, leave it open.
We don't, what do we have there now? There's nothing there, I'm saying leave it open. How does that work?
Just to make sure we do the intersection.
I mean, from a functionality standpoint, it's not required to be there, but it does do to help slow down traffic where it gets into Main Street, provide little more gaps. And it gives you an option, kind of get back those businesses, the Burger King, going east down
Which that might be an important thing to point out here. There would not have the dedicated left turn at, south on Main. They would still have the permissive as they have, or they could make the right and go around the U-turn, around the roundabout Main.
If you didn't have that ability, you have to probably put a left turn lane in to make that one. Yeah, and this put moving the roundabout from Reed Bridge, it's not as effective as the other way around with traffic. It's kind of cool, but it's worse.
Or is it gonna make the parade route interesting?
Any other questions on it?
I apologize, I'm a little slow to back, right. So it's too close, too close because it's, I understand what you're physically saying, but technically those two lights are too close too, but obviously we have backup from that. Is it going to be worse if we have the two roundabouts? Worse, okay. But if traffic wouldn't be stopping unless it was backed up on the bridge or something.
Normal.
Just engineering stuff.
Are still good.
Okay,
Not just bridge.
thank you.
The next request was to remove the northbound Main Street access to North Bridge at Park Avenue, the intersection, remove the cut through traffic on Main. Removing connection with forward traffic to Bridge Street, as we discussed earlier, and would cause 80 intersections to fail, creating backups on Bridge, beyond Park, and beyond Cowboy. So this kind of goes back to just showing it, what we discussed, so that the backups would be access beyond Park Avenue here and well south of Cowboy.
That's supposed to be the answer to my question.
So by cutting off access, by cutting off the utilization of Main Street to run in conjunction with Bridge, Bridge Street would not
Show me that
operate.
slide again, please.
This one.
If you don't have that connection, Main Street is able to get across Park and up the bridge. All the traffic stays on Bridge, therefore the backups.
We're forcing your local traffic all to be on Bridge Street. And that's gonna fail, just like how you block it off, at 80, when we are allowing the traffic on Main Street, same basically approach. Then your local traffic is gonna be basically utilizing 29, and it's gonna make it fail.
I respectfully disagree. I think that the automobile traffic will be using Main Street.
Now, if you cut off if you can go back to it, at Park, they don't have the ability to go northbound and be able to get on.
And that's
Because you cut it off.
That's what we,
And where are you cutting it off? I'm sorry. That's a lot of-
vehicles traveling north on main streets do not have access to bridge to get to State Road 29 in this concept.
That's not the roundabout concept we were talking about earlier, it is going out. I believe that what we were talking about earlier, was Mr. Vargas pointed out the roundabout there. I believe I think the main traffic is gonna go down, Main Street's gonna be local, like it is now. I think
This
it's
would be
fine.
intent with the other. It will be signed no trucks, so there will be no trucks
Yeah.
or utilizing main streets.
Right. But I mean, it's reasonable to expect that traffic on Bridge Street backed up all the way to the roundabout, cars are on Main Street like today. But the important thing is having the ability to kind of balance that, the big demands. I mean, the most point people are going on Bridge Street, the outlets, it's backed up, you have a second option. And more importantly, businesses internal to downtown core don't have to turn left to go on Bridge Street during peak traffic, turn right, go on Main Street, have safe intersections, mechanisms to people.
I believe that's really beneficial for us to know that we can take that route.
Exactly.
Back up.
Exactly.
Jump off there and get on through town.
And the locals would utilize that more than they would Bridge Street.
Exactly. I do.
It's one way from
Yeah, this was just a, request that came from our last meeting, look at what would happen if we took away Main Street from having that connection. So we looked at the same intersection, brought that connection, the traffic just did not. The backups were pretty severe.
Well, I guess I'm just a little slow, just a little hit roll. That shows a right-hand turn down Main Street.
Northbound. The request came in was remove the northbound Main Street ability to go onto Bridge Street.
You're traveling northbound on Main Street to make a right and onto
Coming off of the bridge.
southbound.
Yeah, the request that came from that meeting was remove the northbound traffic.
Coming off the bridge, an automobile can turn right onto Main Street if they take that lane. Is that correct?
Yes, they can turn.
Yes, they go right.
If you're heading toward your farm, or you're heading north.
I'm not concerned about what's heading north, I'm concerned about all of the traffic coming south and those automobiles that are gonna be on Main Street. And we gave Main Street, we said, don't mess with Main Street, leave it alone.
And we looked at the option of not doing anything on Main Street, not connecting it, and the traffic fails pretty severely. We can show that for all the other slides
So,
too.
are you gonna, make some adaptations to Main Street to accommodate the traffic?
Yep, we have the speed management elements.
We do have, showing the reconstruction, we do have a slide kind of showing that, we showed the typical section by improving the parking and adding the sidewalk. Yes, that would be reconstructing Main Street as well.
Because we did say, no, don't mess with Main Street. And now we're gonna mess with Main Street.
Understood, we went back and analyzed, and what by not utilizing Main Street, we do not have a viable option to go through and construct on Bridge Street. Bridge Street fails severely.
And I think one of the things was said that if we do not do anything, then they don't touch it at all. That means we lose any project going on Main Street.
And that's what I thought we were.
But I think at the end, we did was revise, to move forward. So but if you don't do anything on Main Street, you lose the flow of everything else. So if you don't do that, then you're gonna lose everything that they already have put in place on the bridge. So you're gonna lose that flow. And then if you lose that flow, then the traffic's gonna back up. At least Main Street, if the bridge is backed up, you can come back and, at least the locals can come back and exit on Main Street and still exit through town.
I would like to bring up a real ugly word. Has there been any progress on a bypass?
We discussed that earlier, the bypass is programmed this year.
It's what?
The feasibility study for the bypass.
You're doing a feasibility study, or you're not?
It is programmed to begin in fiscal year 29.
29?
And if I may, with the improvements that, on Main Street, it would solve any ADA issues that we currently have.
And I understand that. I just hate turning our little town into a truck route.
Main Street would be signed for the truck.
Pardon me?
Main Street would be signed for the truck traffic.
But Bridge Street would be, I mean, it's gonna be bumper to bumper trucks.
I guess respectfully, all we have to do, we all agree we have to do something. But if it's gonna fail, regardless, if you're not using Main Street, then the maintenance should be for the state, not the city. That's just my opinion. And if all your feasibilities are, you're studying these traffic flows, it's gonna fail without Main Street, then it should be maintenance as well. It's gonna fail. That's what you're saying, so.
Yes, we can work to maintain both.
Good point.
Good point, Dan.
What do you
You
think?
said multiple times, so I'm just making sure, that's what I understood.
So I know we have to make a decision. What do you need from us, to move forward? What area do you need us to approve to move?
We don't need approval one way or the other right now. We're trying to work with you guys to figure out what's the best option or to move forward with. The next step will be, to go to a workshop, would be the next step.
Madam Chair, I'd like to just comment on that. You guys, I think, have gone beyond what I expected tonight, so I appreciate what you've come back with, and that does, to me, that shows a great effort in working with us. And I think you can work this thing out, so thank you for doing that.
And that's where I'm at. I don't want us to get stuck and can't move forward. I want to be able to move forward to the workshop so that we can, I think we're gonna get an A, B, and a C plan. It's time to move forward.
Understood, and we do appreciate that. And the purpose of this is to present it to you guys and really try to get, kind of get a buy-off and understand that we're trying to work and get what would work best for your community.
And the is growing very fast, so you can wait and keep putting it off, and you're gonna have a problem.
Yes,
We already have a problem.
yeah, Madam Chair, are you ready?
There's some more, we're not complete.
Okay, all right, Commissioner Radica provided a letter that she would like read, so when we get to that.
Have a presentation.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So here was another option, just showing that, closing off that utilization of Main Street. We did look at this as well. Provide that Park Avenue, the through and right turn, not allowing. But again, it's not sidewalk. And this is just to show throughout, so that we analyzed each of the intersections with that not utilizing, and it shows the backups that would happen. So at this intersection with the signals, the level service is F, and it backs up Park Avenue, approximately half a mile, and it backs up the top of the way. Yeah, so the kind of the single Hall Street doesn't involve the issue, so it's still the same backups. So no impact by this, with this option, adding that signal at all. Both sides probably have the best traffic capacity numbers, still fails pretty poorly.
You go back to that one again?
This would be original both sides.
That one would not work now. What?
If you don't make that connection up by Park, Main Street, you have to go out of town, even this one, that's option, traffic lights, doesn't work out.
We went through all the
Just make sure
scenarios,
anyone that would work.
yeah, all the scenarios, all the viable options. So if we close off Main Street, they're all gonna fail. So we just went through every one of those options, signals, the road roundabout, just to show you guys that it's something.
Is this the best fit right here?
No.
It was with Main Street being open, but now if we close it off, then that doesn't really work, because it's a half a mile back up and park, and then about a mile to that way. That's how the state intersection would operate.
Yeah, so that's what we're showing here. We're still going through by no longer utilizing Main Street to travel north onto 29. Every intersection fails, all that we had previously determined as viable. So that's what we're trying to show here. At the end, we'll run through what we still have as we consider viable options.
And I'd like to know the grade on that, which you made earlier, to where you had the red light, roundabout red light, roundabout red light. Yeah, we found that graded out too.
Yeah, it fails with the no Main Street connection, but.
I'm not saying, I'm just yeah, we'll get Main Street excluded, so, thank you.
So the next request, the official designation of State Route 29 moves straight to the bridge streets as soon as possible. As we discussed before, we would make the designation as soon as we could with construction, reconstruction of the street. Updating traffic data, there were requests to get new counts. We are in the process of getting those new counts. We should be receiving those any day. So just in summary, going to run through what we've seen here. The two-way left turn lane, so the additional and the new viable options that we've showed today. The two-way left turn lanes, we are maintaining those, just incorporating the islands. On Bridge Street, north of State Road 80, Main Street, and Bridge Street, south of State Road 80. The State Road 80 intersection, the boat drive concept of a roundabout moving to Bridge Street instead of Lee Street, we would show as a viable option. Even though there was slightly more delays or extension backups, and the traditional signal with the addition of the signal at Hall Street. And then just wanted to touch again that lengthening the bridge span to provide a wider opening use from park and the library. So we're going to go through each of, just kind of recap the viable options that we would still have in place. So looking at the typical sections, this one was the original one that we showed with the 6-foot sidewalk and 12-foot shared use path on each side, removing that two-way left turn lane, going to 11-foot lane and the 4-foot shoulders and the curb and gutter. And then this was the other option that we took from the feedback from the last one. So keeping that two-way left turn lane, going with the island, and then the shared use path and the 6-foot sidewalk.
Yes, I like that option myself.
Yeah, so these are all, we're anticipating having what we're showing now be part of the workshop.
Yes.
If you're looking at public comment on it, give us the preferences. We're going to recap all you're going to see in the workshop right now.
So there will be islands.
Correct.
Sporadically where there's.
Again, no, not impacting access and
just a corridor itself that will be going out.
And during, we can work out maintenance agreements for landscaping and making sure we have water access to the islands, like the people, the Placid and stuff, that we're all doing.
I think this section is something that's a great idea, and
Thank you.
Yeah, remember, this is not just a pavement, this is reconstruction of the road and all the infrastructure.
Yes,
So we're, it's a big deal.
So coming over to Bridge Street, this was the first one, eliminating that two-way left turn lane, going with the 6 to 10 foot sidewalks on each side of the lane. And here was the other option, keeping that two-way left turn lane, but again, on the reducing sidewalk width.
Quick question on, I'm sorry. The islands, is that something we have input as to, or the traffic study designate where they go? Is that way we do that?
In design, we would determine the location. Okay. And again, we would not be looking to impact access to any of the businesses or driveways. Sure. The purpose of those is to provide a breakup of the continuous pavement.
It looked long and that, Hendry, they're going to be smaller than that. It's hard to keep making the right size, but I don't even see it, you know.
Thank you.
Intent, but yeah, there'll be space so that you have the ability to get in and out.
Just a question, since we're on Bridge Street here. I don't know how the rest of the commission feels, both commissions. Would this be a viable option to have this here where this is not necessarily a walking district, you know, where you get some walkers, but where we want to incorporate more of the walking downtown district in the actual downtown. So could this be like this here, and then once you cross State Road 80, could it go down to the narrow three lanes? So that we have the wider sidewalk and that's still be able to move traffic, slow down, there to where pedestrians can come and go and.
Yeah, I mean, you can go ahead, we'll get there, we'll get there, options, there. So Main Street, this is the only option that we show here. I think it was pretty unanimous support in terms of the parking for the reconstruction of Main Street, to include the parking there.
I personally like that, just because the sidewalk, the extra parking, the sidewalks, and the narrowing of the lanes, slowing down the traffic in these areas, I think it's
sidewalk and meander to preserve the open.
This will also discourage big trucks.
The parking addition will be great.
Absolutely.
So this is Bridge Street. We actually are not showing the other option, but yes, we will show that other alternative of not having the two-way left turn lane, but of having the 2 lanes with the wider sidewalks. So that would be one of the
And like you said, having maybe chickeneries or whatever they're called, and to be able to get into, let's say, like on Broward to where that's a heavy traffic kind of area, or something to that effect.
So yeah, it's just a matter of placing them where they don't have direct access. And maybe spots we have to sort of maybe the opening width of the driveways, so there's like more feet to kind of make that work better. And also kind of go block by block.
This is the walking downtown, that's envisioned, and here we could use those wider sidewalks and that slower traffic, I think would be something that I would like to see.
We'll bring that other one, I'm sorry, I don't have it here.
Madam Chair, a quick question. Do you have restrictions on the type of landscaping that goes into the crosswalks? And the reason I'm asking the question, in Immokalee, they have a couple, and they're landscaped fairly heavily where you can't see someone actually in the crosswalk.
Yeah. So we, as part of this process, we'll have what they call landscape opportunity plans, where based on site distance, safety, it restricts certain vegetation that gets planted. Plan. Then generally, once the project is complete, it goes into a separate landscape phase. Install landscaping based on the available power they can use. And coordinate as far as,
Separate landscape project we would work to program that to follow once the construction of the roadway is complete. A landscape project could come in and follow immediately to get that.
yes.
Thank you.
And it's just to do it that way because you get a better warranty on the landscape.
I'm probably getting angry, but on that last spring back, quick question. Is there any way to shift some of that on-street parking once you get to the south end of that, on the other side of the street where businesses are? Is there a right way big enough to do that?
We could, the right of way is there, it's just a matter of where the trees are, and they restrict it.
Well, there isn't any on the south end of the bridge.
Right, so it's got, if you aren't taking right of way, it's still pinched by the trees. So wherever the tree is, whether it's on the east side, west side, the park is not gonna fit unless you take right of way.
Well, that's the reason I was asking, down here in this area, I understand the trees, but on the other end, it's open, we have an eye doctor there, we have a chiropractor there. So I was just curious if we could shift some of the old street parking, so they would actually gain some parking too, so we don't have any.
Right, so we looked at the area by the chiropractor.
Yes.
And because that's close to the 80 intersection, you have left turn lanes that, land lies as we define design, how far back that left turn lane has to go. So it may encroach back where they are. Even with that left turn lane, we didn't see an impact of their parking. But there were a couple of the next business over, they have a few spots that are really tight. So that will work through, we kind of talked about that, but it does depend on the concept. So, we'll define design, try to avoid it, but right now, worst case scenario, there's a couple there. But because of how narrow the corridor is, the left turn lane, right now, Main Street is 2 lanes. So basically having a third lane be the parking lane. Add a left turn lane to it, now it's a parking lane, so that's kind of where we're, south of Oklahoma, constrained unless it's taken right away, that's kind of it.
Sure, I was just curious,
Yeah, once we get into the design, we'll optimize, we'll know exactly where we need, the length of the turn lane, and then we'll try to maximize the parking net.
Perfect, thank you.
I know it's gotta be a resource ability to design every concept, we'll get that big concept first. And
So then, moving on to the intersections, here at Cowboy Way, we have the roundabout. We have this, the rotary intersection that we showed as well, is still viable option. Any questions on that?
Could we not include this one?
Go that one.
Yeah, we don't have to. It's still, operationally, it still works.
Understood, but it's very confusing, and I think it'll just create issues as I'm concerned.
I'm gonna give you a little on the slide. Why I agree. I'll say a little word. Move that.
So, State Road 80, here's a signalized intersection.
that was the original one we talked about with these two individually, everything. Moving that like turn lane on Main Street, which creates more backup, but then like I said, I'm gonna look at that parcel that's being redeveloped, see what they actually get, when we survey it, see if we find it or not.
And then this was the one by adding a signal. And this one's still be an option. Shown here, the bow tie, and just, we still have this in here because operationally this was the highest performer. It does achieve goals such as slowing traffic down and providing clearance of vehicles and between road and all.
And at the last workshop that we did have some public comments that were in favor.
That's because I think there's probably some surprising, positive feedback on that just because of that left turn on bridge is such a big.
Yeah, it was that, and they liked the fact that it reduced the route of their, using with, like,
Vehicles will slow down coming through downtown on both sides.
it's like,
So where would this one rank at?
In terms of operation,
Yes, sir.
yeah, it was the highest level of service. I don't know if you have that. Yeah, this one performed the best.
Okay.
It's, and that one, the, Hall Street, that with the eye to the right is, that's gonna seriously impact that business, the Chinese restaurant right there. And, yeah, that's one a little bit, but, they're already, yeah. And that's all of those businesses, I mean, that was an impossible site for the last time to do it, 80 was up, so.
Understood. That was one of the challenges with this.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
And then this one, as we discussed, shifting that roundabout, but there are still the impacts there, the right way impacts. Right way impacts.
How much usability does this fall off with?
I'm sorry?
Does it fall off in usability? You said the other was the highest usability, so how much does this one fall off?
Operational performance,
Oh, a whole lot, I'm sure.
this one, out of the five ones, probably stacks up.
Second.
okay, so this one would rank second. So this one would be first, this one second, and then the signal option would then be third, and then the four signals would then be fourth.
Okay, so if nothing is done at Hall Street, how does that negatively impact it?
It's still viable.
It's still viable.
So it would still have the same ranking if you eliminated Hall Street? Nothing?
From a capacity standpoint, it doesn't really change much. Maybe benefits. So overall, you have to kind of put that whole matrix together.
Basically, you're saying it doesn't slow traffic down as much.
Correct. You have to start getting light first and then get the roundabout. So the first roundabout will how their expectations be before they get.
Is there other options to slow down traffic using the middle lane on 80 approaching?
Yeah, but this is surefire, the way to make sure they don't. But we can introduce other,
I can ask you, sorry, the size of the roundabouts, how do you compare to 82? They're the same size?
The one at Bridge Street would be the same size as the one at 82.
yeah, all one is some smaller, the island would be bigger. And what I did with, Cowboy Way, running vehicles, do the same thing, well.
So don't forget that you might also the one at the bridge, that's somewhere to 82 as well.
Yeah, that's that way.
Okay.
And just to mention that when we look at all these alternatives, we look at capacity, safety, right away, takes cost. So we have to take all of those into account to see what really comes in. It's not just capacity, it's cost. Understood.
I personally, the both high options, I prefer the one on Holland Beach Street. Yes.
No. No, I personally disagree, but.
That's fine.
So moving up to Park Avenue, this is the roundabout with that flow, turn lanes. And then
Can you go back to the roundabout?
we do have this one showing the right end, and some of the, showing the Park master plan.
Can you go back to the next slide? I mean, it's just myself. I just see there's a lot. We're addressing the things that need to be addressed, and we're still keeping what we have. You said they're both feasible.
Yeah,
The other one is slightly better, considerably better.
The roundabout would take you further, so it would go,
How much further?
provided sufficient operation beyond 2040. 2040 was the traffic level that we wanted. And then you go say it as well, the roundabout are.
Okay, a question on Main Street. The guiding traffic. Do you have to have the divider there, the triangle divider that keeps us from going north?
We did look at that.
That's where the library is, and going around the whole 2 blocks is not something that people are.
So you're saying to leave it at the stop sign?
Not Bridge Street, right?
That would say, that would not. Stop condition is not accomplished.
Okay. So you can't stop the southbound? On the east side of that intersection, you have a stop sign there and no stop sign going north, is what I'm saying.
So in here what we're showing, it's a free flow coming southbound. So you're not having to stop you're slowing down to go around the curve, but you're not having to stop. If there was a stop sign there, then traffic would then begin to back up onto the street.
That's assuming that there's a lot of local, of course, 2040, who knows? So it would absolutely fail, like, and then go to fail. That was not very free. I could see free flowing.
I would care.
Well, I mean, I'm not opposed to the light necessarily. I don't like going north, not being able to go north. That was the whole problem with this plan.
And how far out does this configuration take us?
I believe this one took us right. It provides capacity to 2040. And the roundabout took us beyond.
Any idea how much beyond, was beyond
Infinity?
I mean, it's,
This is going to be 2140.
And this one doesn't encroach on Barron Park as much as the roundabout does.
I just see that big nice square up there in Park.
Which one of these plans has a less impact on the businesses downtown?
The business, I don't know that either of the intersections impact the business downtown.
as long as you have the connection in.
Well, definitely back to the library, you can't get to it unless you go around to the east of the old park.
Correct. Yes.
But
But the access, right.
the roundabout in the background.
And the folks who live right there in those houses, same thing, they gotta go up, they can't even go home there. We ought to send this to the dozen. We also have to remember that it's not necessarily a 2 block to get to LaBelle Library, it's coming from Main Street, because as soon as you get past Ridge Street, you can make that left right there, where we currently have a 2-way road, right next to it. Where?
But you're not supposed to generate.
Can't make a left, right? Yeah, that's not, that's a ridiculous. Oh, it's not? No. Oh. Because you're 40 years, I didn't know that. I call it the red line.
Okay, can we use the roundabout again? Could you back up to that? Okay, but the roundabout absolutely wipes out the two buildings there. The two city
Outside the
buildings.
library, correct.
Mhm. Yeah, I've never liked that part of the design at all.
Another option, just we have, we do have the 40 keys still in here. Option, you still do not have, access north of town. Main,
Go south.
go across. You have the free flow on Ridge Street, you have that free flow.
The traffic can move south.
Traffic does go south, yes.
What do we really preserve there, just out of curiosity?
Nothing.
The 2 old houses?
Slightly more space on the.
No, they're old houses, you've been in the library.
Just in the library area, and that's.
You're not affecting the library, you're just affecting those 2 old houses. That would probably just, the biggest difference I see is no red light on Ridge Street. The roundabout took out those 2 houses, does not affect the library.
What 2 houses are you talking about?
The two obviously, the old houses, the Dallas building, where Swamp Cabins and other town,
Well,
and then the bottom cabins.
don't worry, Kelly, we'll find you someplace to operate now.
Okay, so with this one, you can't get across to the library at all. from Main Street. No, I mean, you can't get across Bridge Street at all. You have to go down.
To stay on park. That's correct. For Thompson, here. And this is just another option that the traffic safety needs.
When you guys are done with the slide, if you can go back to the one on the roundabout. What is the span between both bridges?
Width,
Yeah.
30 feet.
Does it need to be so wide?
The center house.
It's what?
The center house. The middle. There's 20 foot road, sorry.
I'm just thinking, if you were able to narrow that, and also narrow the sidewalk, you're gonna gain space that you and everyone complain about from Barron Park. Is there a way to figure that, or is there a redesign of that Hendry house?
Is there any design where it's not in the center, is that acceptable?
We're gonna look at options to maintain a roundabout and preserve as much space as that park. We'll look at options of that.
And a way to get into the library off of Main Street?
We can relook at that as well. I believe that it did not work. Operate code finished. You take another look at it.
Yeah. Is it imperative for the bridge center to be right there?
So you put a, if it wasn't free flowing from going north on Main to the roundabout, if we had a stop sign right there where it says small right of way tag, right there, and allow traffic to go north as traffic allowed.
We're gonna do that.
Okay.
We don't have that answer.
I've understood, but it would be, I mean, forget the Florida T, that's another massively big one. But, if we could figure out how to get to the library, that would be very helpful.
I agree with you because we go into the library, like they mentioned, the houses, the people that live on that end. And then what, Commissioner Blakey said, the narrowness of the patch in between the bridge, if they take that out, and they'll save some of the parkway what they wanted, so they just have to narrow it down. They probably just didn't know how much significant the park meant to you all, so, they would save some of the greenery there and pull it out of before they get to the bridge, that'll narrow it out a little bit, and then put a stop sign there, or four-way or something.
We'll look at what we've discussed in terms of narrowing up and reducing the impact of park on Main Street.
With the roundabout, it was slow traffic enough for somebody to get across.
And then, I mean, access to the library on the other side, you could go through the roundabout, essentially just making a U-turn. It's approximately 700 feet to drive. Understand that's the operation of the roundabout, right?
Yes, sir. It's just retraining.
Going around the elbow to get to that.
Okay.
You didn't see that, we basically saw that red line going over there.
Is that the?
So yes, that is.
Okay, I'm sorry, we keep overlooking you, so I wasn't sure.
Thank you, what input?
We do have a reading from Ms. Kelly.
Kelly Boone is, reading a letter from Jackie Radica, Commissioner Radica, who, had family.
Okay. Understand she isn't here, so this was done earlier, so some of the stuff you've already discussed, but she wanted it read. Good evening, I would like to begin by saying I'm very sorry I cannot attend this meeting in person due to family reasons. I'm having this letter read in my absence so my voice can be heard. I am sure many of you already know my feelings on the second bridge. I cannot repeat myself enough, saying that the second bridge will not help with the truck traffic in town. Leonard Enriquez, a concerned private citizen, and I measured how the roundabout would fit at the foot of the bridge at State Route 29 and Park Avenue. Sorry, the two bridges. We will be losing all of the parking area all the way to the pavilion in Barron Park. We will lose parking on the Barron Library's east side. The roundabout will be approximately 30 feet from the building at the foot of the bridge, which we all know is the auction building. We have a beautiful river that runs right through the middle of our county, and we will clog it up with a freeway. The park will become a homeless gathering place. People will no longer be able to go there and do what they want because access will be cut off from State Route 29. Again, we will not be able to have access to the river. This project will remove the passive park we have been asking for and trying to accomplish. All of our efforts through LaBelle Downtown Revitalization Corporation will be wasted. Our historic district will then become a truck route. It really burns me when I ask FDOT to please find a new truck route, and they tell me it is a bypass. A truck route is a truck route. I do not care what you call it, it is a truck route. You can definitely make, quote, through traffic and, quote, truck routes. Signs can indicate either truck or traffic route to direct trucks around the city. I am not one for bullies. Furthermore, I am very sorry about that. However, I have spoken to several of you multiple times, and every time I ask if the city chooses not to take your options, where does that leave us? So far, I have been told it, quote, doesn't make good friends between FDOT and the city. FDOT has no right to give us something we do not want and will no longer listen to us. I am not sure how presenting things to us, telling us what we have to have, whether we like it or not, is working with us. Pushing the city of LaBelle into a corner and telling us we can get this or nothing is not setting well with me. I do not appreciate feeling as if I am being bullied into going along with plans I cannot entirely agree with. I'm sure you all were going to say it won't be a freeway running through the middle of the town. No, it's a truck route. That sounds much better than a freeway, correct? Truck route or freeway, it does not make a difference. FDOT will be adding 2 bridges to a tiny little town with a population of 5,000, which makes absolutely no sense. I researched cities with 2 bridges. The only place where we have 2 bridges for the river is that, like in Fort Myers. I understand the need for it in Major City. The need for it in LaBelle is just ridiculous. The folks that live on Fraser Avenue and in the area where I reside will be overrun with traffic. Putting a second bridge in will cause Main Street to be overrun with will be overrun with local traffic, which disrupts our city streets. The city does not have the money to maintain its roads. Now we will add a freeway/truck route to the equation. The idea that FDOT will make a grassy area down Bridge Street raises other questions. Who will maintain it? The city barely has enough money to maintain what we have now. We will add more greenery in the middle and, oops, side of the road to maintain. It all sounds terrific. It looks pretty on paper, but the vision changes when you put it out in the field and in practical terms. So far, I have seen options where Bridge Street is northbound and Main Street is southbound. Then I've seen it where Bridge Street is north and southbound and Main Street is north and southbound. After that, I would really like to see final set of plans, which I understand you said. It is very scary thinking of what this can potentially do to our little town. I'm Jackie Radcliffe, City of LaBelle Commissioner. I have copies of that one. Yes, there you go.
Thank you so much. I do not feel that you're pushing something off on us. That's the purpose of the meeting. So I appreciate all your work and your effort that you have put in for the city of LaBelle County. I'm sorry they're not here. I'm not an engineer, I'm an educator, so I can't tell you what's gonna fit on the road and what's not. I'm gonna go back to your opinion and your expertise. So we do thank you for your time. Is there any more comments?
Madam Chair. Okay, then, sorry, I had named our meeting before, sorry about that. So, okay, and I'm the District Secretary with FDOT. I would like to make a few comments. Thank you. If you allow me. So, Madam Mayor, Madam Chair, and Commissioners, really appreciate your time. I think this effort that we went through kind of demonstrates the department's commitment to partner with the community, right? We're all about our communities. We want to make sure we do what's right for our communities. Like you said, we are engineers. We come up with solutions, but if we don't integrate our solutions with what the community wants, then it's not going to help the community, right? So a lot of great conversation. We're going to take that back and we'll make sure things that you mentioned are researched into, incorporated before we go into a public workshop. And I want to bring up a couple of things. The philosophy of the department is not to force the community to accept a solution that you do not want. We want to work with you to come up with a solution, right? So that's very important for us. Things that I heard, through the conversation today is you want to maintain the integrity of Main Street, right? If you remember, the original solution when we did the project development study years ago was a one-way there, right? And because the downtown revitalization committee came to us and said, hey, we don't want the one-way there, we revisited the whole project. we completely went to scratch and reset the whole project, right? And that kind of shows our commitment to work with you guys, right? What we are going to do as part of this project, taking your input and your citizens' input, is going to maintain the character of Main Street. And Commissioner, you wanted to protect the green space at Bennett Park, right? We think, looking at it, there's some opportunities, even with the roundabout. If we don't have opportunities to protect Barron Park, this will work, so we can always look at that option. The access to library was discussed. We were talking in the background. There may be a couple of solutions that we can come up with. We'll figure that out, but we'll come back to you on that, right? What we would like to do is, once we figure those small points that you mentioned, right, we want to go forward with the public workshop because we want to get the community input. We got your input, we want to go with the community input and then go to the public hearing because we want to see the project go forward. Because our biggest priority is making sure you become what a true Main Street community is, right, per se, but also replace the bridge that is structurally failing, right, so the amount of money that we are pouring into that bridge for repairs is increasing year by year. So we need to make sure we replace the bridge, right? The other thing that I want to mention is, whenever we build a bridge, we offer the community to create an aesthetics committee. What the aesthetics committee includes is community representatives who actually tell what the facade of the bridge would look like, And if you may have seen the bridge tender, it actually includes the courthouse design, right? That's reflecting what the community looks like. Same thing, the bridge, retaining walls and all that stuff. As long as it doesn't change the integrity of the structure design, we can actually create a committee that's going to incorporate community representatives so you can tell how you would like to see the facade to look like. Obviously, there's going to be budget limitations that we under on that. There was also conversation about taking over Main Street for maintenance, right? We are open to that. We start doing an exchange, but you gotta understand that if you do that, then Main Street becomes state road, right? So you gotta think about that too. Do you want Main Street to be a state road, or do you want to make it a Main Street and a local road, right? And maintain yourselves and maintain that integrity, or we can take it as a state road, accomplish as much as possible what the community wants, but you're kind of losing control of it, right? So you got to think about that too. But we are open to that, definitely open to that. Because remember, one-way fare, you were going to do that, right? So you got to think about that. But I do want to say, really appreciate all the conversations we had, and I want to thank your staff. They have been great partners with us, meeting with us continually, and kind of like working through these options, giving us feedback so that we can come up with a collaborative solution. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Madam Chair, I just to make it point of record, inadvertently, emails went out to each commissioner asking them, city commissioner, went out per my misunderstood instructions, but I'm responsible, so I'm making it public record, requesting whether they preferred one bridge or two bridges. My understanding from staff is that one commissioner responded, they were not connected, they were individual. I don't know who responded, don't know what they said. I don't care what they said. It shouldn't have never, ever gone out, but it did, and there was no collaboration and no individual conversation. So I just wanted to make that part of public record.
I would just want to say thank you to both boards, and I think we moved the ball forward today, and we had some good discussion, and not everybody here is going to be happy with the end result. Like, we're going to take and give a little bit, and ultimately we'll agree to get something, and I think our citizens in the end will end up winning, and so that's how I feel about it. Thank you to the FDOT staff for all the hard work you guys have been putting in. We really appreciate the time you've taken and just listening to us, and let's just keep working at finding the finish line.
I second the gratitude. We appreciate everybody working together on this.
Just in the essence, keeping the meeting shorter, I agree with what everyone said, and you guys have done But, thank you for the beyond the measure to accommodate that, so we worked a lot of some of our needs, so really appreciate it.
Any more comments? Just to remind anyone in the public that like to, have their opinion on it, and what we provided some paper in the back, leave it in the box, and before we dismiss any person decided to appeal any decision that's made by the board of inspection on any matter considered at such meeting or hearing, he or she need to record, for such purpose, he or she may need to ensure that verbal recording proceeding is made, which records in court that testimony evidence which will appeal in this case. So if you want to, shoot anything, you want to record it, give it to us, and we'll take it from there. But once again, if you feel like anything that you want DOT to discuss on the next, meeting, at the public hearing, any other say so, any other questions, any other remarks? Thank you, John. Thank you once again, we appreciate you, trying to meet us.